Party people, and the place to be. What's going on? It's me. If it's Thursday, I must be wearing a purple hat. Why am I wearing a purple hat? Because it says a different world on it. Oh, yes. It is time. It is that time. It is the time that we sit back, relax, and enjoy some drinking and the fucking shenanigans of the kids down at Hillman. Because this is a drinking game. It's a watch along. After all, we've been doing this for a while now. You should already know. If you're new here, fantastic. Welcome aboard. Get your Amazon Primes ready. Season 3, Episode 9, Answered Prayers. Season 3, Episode 9, Answered Prayers. Get on whatever you're on. Say, Alexa, cue up A Different World Season 3, Episode 9 for me, please. And she should do that for you. Pause it, though. Get it all the way back to 0 because we haven't started yet. This is a drinking game after all. Make sure you have your drinks with you. I have mine. You should have this off camera. You should have yours as well. There are rules. We have shortened some of the rules. It has come to my attention that the rules of this game may be a little cumbersome. So we've shortened some of the rules to the A Different World drinking game after all. If Mr. Gaines says, or oh my goodness, you take a sip. If Ron gets insulted or shot down for a date, you take a sip. If Whitley insults somebody, you take a sip. If somebody insults Whitley, you take 2 sips, because that's rare. You finish half your drink if somebody impersonates Whitley. If Dwayne's glasses either flip up or down, the shade part, don't you know, you finish your drink. And if somebody says Konnichiwa, you finish your drink. Okay, fine. This one I'm not sure about. This is Answered Prayers. The last episode we watched was Kim's father came for homecoming and she wasn't there. She went off to Freaknik and they got mad, and they got mad at each other, and that was the end of that episode. As we've come to realize since last season, Kim can't have fun without getting punished by the show. Not by anybody else, not by her father or anything like that. She's got to get punished by the show. Last year, she had a pregnancy scare. The episode after, she started expressing her sexuality. This season, she again is probably out trying to explore her sexuality, but also her independence. And the very next episode, her father, played by Richard Roundtree, gets shot, and she has to deal with that. This is that episode. With all that aside, or with all that in tow, this should be a good episode. Also, here's something I want you to think about before we get started on this episode. Apparently, Amazon has something called a watch party, which seems to be reminiscent of the old Riff.tv days, if you remember that, which is how this whole thing got started a couple years ago anyway, was we would riff along with whatever was on the screen that you're watching. If there are enough of you that want it, you gotta let me know that you want it. Down there in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, let me know that you want to do this, and we'll probably do it for a future episode. I'm thinking a good episode to do it on will be the season finale, because the season finale this year is the debut of Miss Patti LaBelle as Dwayne's mama. So that should be fantastic. But you gotta let me know that you want it, and we'll figure out if that's gonna be the first one or if we're just gonna start doing it when we start. All right, get it, got it, good. All right, so season 3, episode 9, Answered Prayers. On your browser, I'm gonna get it to 0, and that's when it starts. You'll hear me singing to help sync the shit up, and that starts right now. I know my parents love me. Stand behind me, come with me. I know now that I'm ready, yeah. For I finally heard them say, it's a different world, ooh, than where you come from. Yeah, and here's our chance to make it. And if we focus on our goal, you can dish out, we can take it. Just remember that you've been told it's a different world Ah, it's a different world than where you come from. Ooh, 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 than where you come from. See, it's times like these I want to add the Freddy freak out back in. But she hasn't really started freaking out yet this season, so. Oh, that's a Whitley insult. Oh, that's a Whitley impression. It was a Whitley impressions. Half your drink. Luckily, I don't have much left. That's definitely an insult. That's a Whitley insult. That's another Whitley snap. That's another Whitley snapback. That's an insult. In case you treat somebody who's Spanish. I guess we can count that as snapback. Oh, she's one of those lead characters that are afraid of hospitals. Yes, ma'am. That's an impression. Imagine being a Lyft driver having to pick people up from doctor's appointments in the days of the Rona. Whitley insult coming. There it goes. Another Whitley insult. Damn! Damn! She is vicious! Now, hold on a second. Hold on. How is Whitley stealing this episode? Alright, so Whitley insult. Oh, this is gonna be a C plot with Freddy. By the way, they got Richard Roundtree to come in just to lay in a bed for a couple minutes. Either that's how much he believed in this show, or something. Charnel Brown, ladies and gentlemen. Cree Summer is a national treasure. Cree Summer is a national treasure, and I would not hear any more about it. Straight to the point. That was so with the Kim and her father thing. That was a dialogue from a acting school acting class, and that was a monologue from that same thing that you could do. Like those are very actor workshoppy. Doesn't mean they're bad. They're just very actor workshoppy because it's been done so many times since then. There's probably a Whitley insult in there somewhere. I'm going to take that. And two more. It's good that they're still friends at this point. Although, who knows when this was taped versus when that wedding episode was supposed to air. These could all be out of original order that they were supposed to be. By the way, there was a Whitley insult. That's a nice little snapback at Whitley. That's a Whitley snapback. The chemistry between Dwayne and Freddie, or rather, Kadeem and Kree, is fucking dripping off the screen. It's fucking dripping off the screen. That's definitely a snapback. Damn. Damn. Oh, shit. They made Freddie very naive, is probably the best word for it in this season. We're getting more Kree in this episode than Freddy. So this episode was interesting. They apparently the Freddy byline went from being a C storyline to being a B storyline, and the Whitley story went from being B to C somewhere in the third act. The whole religious part of it, I get it. It was 89 on a black TV show. Every black person is supposed to love Jesus and everything surrounding Jesus, especially in the late 80s, or especially really since very recently. However, very heavy-handed was that message. Also, again, we go back to Kim can't have shit. Again, we go back to Kim has to be punished. For what? For what transgression? I'm not sure. The transgression of living a life and having fun and being a young person in the late 80s at a college and away from home for the first time, but she can't have shit. I get why they put these episodes back to back, because they reference each other. I would imagine the shooting order and probably the original order of episodes was not what we actually got. But the fact that she couldn't enjoy a concert as a college student, as a sophomore in college, not even a freshman in college, as a sophomore in college, who's mostly responsible, who's very responsible, particularly for college students, particularly for, even the late 80s, early 90s, and even now. She couldn't explore her sexuality last season, had to get a pregnancy scare. Couldn't have fun this season, had to have her dad not only get shot, for which they brought Richard Roundtree down to the studio. Either they kept him there from the last episode, or they brought him there for this episode for all of 30 seconds. Not only does he get shot, but he lives, but he's paralyzed. Come on. Come on. What was this? I don't understand this. Was this a Cosby edict that this had to happen to prove a point? Was this a Debbie Allen thing that it had to happen to prove a point? What was the point that needed to be proved here? That needed to happen to Kim. Now again, we talked about this last episode. I love the growth of Kimberly Reese. I do. I love her as a character growing, and all the things she goes through to get to her final point. Or at least her overall evolution. The fine details of everything she has to go through to get to her final point, maybe not so much. Maybe not everything. This is one of those things that's why did we have to go through this hell, though? Just because she wanted a piece of heaven. That's just weird to me. It feels like that's a holdover of late 80s, early 90s network television. Now, we live in an era where late 80s, early 90s network television is getting re-examined by the stupidest and weirdest and harshest of lenses from people who have no idea what the fuck they're talking about and have probably never seen the shit to begin with. Golden Girls. But I'm trying to examine this objectively. Objectively, in the late 80s, early 90s, there still wasn't necessarily a reason for this to happen this way. They still didn't necessarily need to add, and I get it. In college, you get religious realizations one way or the other, or another, right? Maybe you were very religious at home. You go to college, all of a sudden you lose your religion. Literally. Not just figuratively. Maybe you weren't religious and you come to college and you become religious, or you were religious and come to college and you're a different religion. Whatever it is, any combination thereof, any number of times thereof. College is that point. So maybe that was it. Maybe the whole crux of the episode wasn't even necessarily to punish Kim for her transgression of trying to have fun as a college student. Maybe it wasn't to punish Richard Roundtree. Oh, wow. I just fucked up Shaft's name. Maybe it wasn't to punish Richard Roundtree to come all the way back down to the studio for 30 seconds. Maybe it was to get to the religious thing at the end about exploration and figuring out what a religion is. And maybe they were actually maybe this whole thing was a roundabout way of trying to flesh out Freddy's character, who gets fleshed out a little bit more and ends up having nothing to do with what happens in this episode whatsoever. She ends up becoming very nature-y and earth mothery and all that other stuff. Has nothing to do with what happens in this episode. So maybe that was their roundabout way of trying to flesh her character out and it gives her more to do, which is good. Gives her a more in-depth thing to do, which is good. Lets us see more of her. It actually lets us see more of Kree, I think, than we see of Freddy. But it lets us see more nonetheless. So maybe this whole thing isn't about Kim, even though it seems like it on the surface. Isn't about her father. Isn't about anything else, even though Whitley takes up a significant portion on the front end. This is another one of those episodes where they load up the front end with comedy, because the back end is going to be a lot of not comedy, a lot of deep introspection and character growth. So maybe all of this was a roundabout way of getting Freddy, in wrestling terms, over. Okay, I'll accept it. We don't end up going down this road. This doesn't lead anywhere in terms of the development of her character, but it does give us something to do with Freddy. It does give her more screen time, more actual meat to sink her teeth into, and that's good. It gave Charnel Brown something to sink her teeth into when she had that scene with Mr. Roundtree, and that was good too. It, again, really solidified Jasmine Guy as the lead of the show, which, is it good? I tend to think this show works best when it embraces the ensemble more, at least so far. But, in the long run, maybe that is a good thing. Who knows? We all love Whitley Gilbert, the character. I don't know. I'm having a new look on this episode from watching it here. And I think overall it has lofty goals. The episode in general has very lofty goals. It's a big swing at the ball. It's a huge swing at the ball. It connects, but it's not a home run. It goes wide right. It goes wide right. Like, it looks like it's gonna, and then it goes wide right. Which isn't bad. It's not terrible. It's not the end of the world. It's not, an out. It just goes wide right, and it's a foul. It's just not exactly what they wanted, but it leads to other things. It probably led to more exploration of Freddy as opposed to sort of a shelving of the character. It probably led to Charnel Brown being able to do more as an actress. That's the last we see of Richard Roundtree, by the way. That's the very last. He only does 2 episodes, and that's it. But that leads to other stuff down the road, and that's going to be interesting to watch. Party people, I need to know what you think of this down there in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe. Most importantly, the brand new thing, I want to know if you want to do In a Different World watch party on Amazon Prime. You got to have Amazon Prime to do it because it's an Amazon Prime thing. If you want to do it on Amazon Prime, let me know down there in the comment section or anywhere else you can find me, because in the description you'll find all the other places to find me. It's Surreal469 and everything. I'm not hard to find. Let me know what you think down there in the comment section. And in the meantime, the in-between time. As always, this is a very interesting episode. Not my favorite, not my least favorite. It's not my favorite of the season so far. It's not my least favorite, or maybe it's tied as my least favorite so far. Like, I wasn't a fan of them breaking up Jaleesa and Walter, but you know, who knows what'll happen in the next few episodes. In the meantime, the in-between time. Oh, we will be back next week with episode 10. I forgot to do this. We'll be back next week, episode 10. For whom the jingle bell tolls. Freddie suggests that she and Whitley spend the holidays together, but Whitley turns into a Scrooge. I don't remember that episode. I don't remember that episode, but we will watch it next week. And in the meantime, the in-between time. Salud.